Mogafe ba atla ke bona ba le ba bona ka montle ke tlo kgopela gore le ge re se tshware thoma modiro wa rena le no emelela le ba amogele go fihlela ebile ba fihla mo ba dula fase. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. ba ga Mogafe, setšhaba ka moka, meloko le metswalle ya ga Mogafe, bakgotse ba Jameson, Kope, Mogafe, ke a le dumediša. Nna ke nna Steve Mashalane. Right at the outset, let me start by saying I am truly honored to have been requested to run the program, a very unexpected program indeed. I'm sure all of us here had that moment of saying it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Ke rata gore ba ga Mogafe modimo wa tseba, ke modimo fela wa tseba gore na go direileng, ke modimo fela wa tseba. Se rena re ka le tloelelang sona ke gore tšeang dipelo tša lena ka moka, tšeang maphelo a lena ka moka, mahloko ka moka a le mo go ona, all your sadness, everything that has happened, put it before our Lord. He is the only one who knows. He is the only one who can tell us today that it is well with his soul. But before I start anything, I would like to call upon our beloved Reverend Mulehe. Please come in and give us the opening prayer. And then I will go on.
Na ke boma mose le di boho ba hlotloga ba hlotloga ho lela le betla ba le sediba ba le sediba ba khanya ba mekaka andihlo bohansi ema bahla haka Jerusalem emucha bine zabona zentliswa kenyaka kemati akonyana kemati kemati akonyana kemati akonyana. Let us pray. Ntata rona ya mahodimong, ntata rona ka lebaka la morena rona e leng Jesu, le thapameng ena Modimo ya lokileng, maemong ana a bohloko, maemong a boima, a tshebeletso e lefifi ya mora wa hao, mohlanka wa hao, ntate Kope Mogafe, Modimo ya lokileng. Dipelo tsa rona di bohloko ntate, re putsa potso ena ka mehla re tla tshabela kae rona ba etsa dibe ha o tshabeha hakana. Modimo ya matla ke ena tshebeletso Modimo e re kenang ho yona Modimo, tshebeletso ya memorial service Modimo re tlo mo hopola Modimo ya lokileng. Ntate ya matla ke lena leloko Modimo ya lokileng, ba seka meokgo mahlong a bona ntate ya lokileng, hobane ho ele senatla monna ya matla, monna ya tshepahalang. Jwale nakong ena Modimo ya lokileng, ha re tla qala tshebeletso ena ya memorial service Modimo, re mema wena Mesia wa ho loka, re mema wena monga bophelo, wena qhoboshiane ya maphelo a rona. Re Modimo kena le rona tshebeletsong ena, o re etelle pele Modimo. Tsohle tse re tla di etsa mona ntate ya lokileng, le bohle ba tlo bua mona Modimo ya lokileng, ba paka ntate Mogafe Modimo ya lokileng, haebe tlotlisong le thorisong ya lebitso la hao. Ke ena motsamaisi wa mosebetsi Modimo ya lokileng, re mo beha matsohong a hao Modimo ya matla, dula lelemeng la hae Modimo, a tsamaise program ena Modimo, a etelletswe pele kwena. Ba Mogafe Modimo ba tshedise, ba ne ba tseba hore maemong ana o ntso le Modimo, o tla dula o le Modimo. Kubo bonke bothixo akekho njengawe, ngoba iinqaba zakho zime khona ngaphakathi. Modimo go tshepile ntate, go tshepile moya o halalelang, go tshepile Jesu, mo lebitsong la ntate, lebitsong la moga, lebitsong la moya o halalelang. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive and the trespass against us, and lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Mr. DJ re kopa sefela re fitisetse ho MC ho tswela pele ka mosebetsi. DJ re kopa sefela kapa chorus. Thank you.
bona jalo ka gore moriti o rapeletše podium jalo nka nna ka tloša tabatše tša gona ka gore moriti wa rena re a o leboga. Thank you very much for the opening prayer. I would like to start right at the beginning. I have known Comrade Kope Mogafe 36 years ago when we were students at the University of Limpopo. What a personality, what a human being he has been. We have been told in, and that is why I think they have gone to the family to request that some of us should come in and literally pay some tributes. We were with Comrade Kope in the organization, which is a brainchild of the present day SASCO, which was the Azanian Students Organization, which we commonly called AZASU. The comrade Ntate Kope, Ntate Mogafe, has been more than a comrade. He was a brother. He became one of us. His humility, his intellectual prowess was just something else. A straightforward person. For sure, most of the speakers that are going to do, they will definitely attest to that. But it is therefore no surprise that we were as equally shocked as most of you, as the family members. Our hearts go to yourselves, and my colleague is going to be talking on behalf of that particular organization because we became a family at that point in time. Without, therefore, further ado, I would like to call upon Sefako Marei to do the welcome and tribute on behalf of the Mogafe family. The representative of Mogafe family, Ntate Sefako Marei, ke kgopela nke letleng keno letle le dire mantswe a mabedi a mararo. In the meantime, ke kgopela sefela, ke kgopela chorus, whatever you have there.
Mosepediši wa modiro wa mahloko Ntate Mashelane, ntumelle ke dumediše ba batho ba leng ka mo tenteng ye ke thoma ka family ya Mogafe, ya Tšiane, ya bo Mogatša Malome, Sesimathapelo, di relative ka moka, ke sa lebale to acknowledge those that are also watching us live ka mararankodi a senang khono. Also allow me to acknowledge the presence here, the Elias Motswaledi local mayor, Magorena Julia Matebe. Ke nnete magagešo a ke tshepe a le gona, e ka ba ka mo tenteng, e ka ba ba dutšeng mo ba dutšeng ba bogetšeng, ga a gona le ka o tee wo a go be a nagana gore re ka ba re le mo lehono e le ga re tlo paka Malome Kope. And indeed it's very painful. Ke ile ka di 7 tša July, like I normally do, called him. I can't even remember what was the reason for me to call him. But ge ke mo founela a re go nna a re Mtlogolo, ke re gore Malome re Mtlogolo, molato ga o gona, e no be le mesikela fela. Ka re hao, wa swikela separa sa gago a le ka dikobong a palela ko go tsoga le yena, kganthe go tla reng? A re ao, kgane se ba yena gore ka re sebara sa gago o tšo hlaba vaccine, a ya mswara gabotse, o palela ko go tšwa ka dikobong. That was on a Wednesday. Thursday, I called him to check up on him, ka kry-a voicemail. I just took it maybe he's in a meeting like he normally does, get into meetings. He'll come back to me. Unfortunately, he did not come back to me on that day. On the Friday, I was here in Groblersdal. I then called him again. For the second day, his phone is off, which was very unusual ka JK. His phone was a part of him. Oba phela swere tablet ka mo ka maswere phone. I then sensed, no, I need to start calling around and not just call him. I then phoned my dad, ka re papa o boletše neng le Malome Kope la mafelelo. A re ke boletše le yena maloba, bekile le yena Middleburg last week. Ke re hape Malome o rile ga a tsoge gabotse la boraro, so a ke mo kry-e mo founung. He then said, no, I also tried to phone him, I can't get hold of him. Anyway, with the phone story, the Saturday morning, ke ge bolwetši bo tla gola mo mmeleng wa gagwe. To an extent o e leng gore o tlogile a ya sepetlele. He got admitted on that Saturday morning of the 10th. Re ntše re ya fase le godimo, re ipotša gore o tla tsoga. When we were hopeful that he's out of the danger zone, ebile a šetše a thomile go ja, because motho ga ka re ga a lwala a palela ko go ja, it's a panic. But once a person that's sick starts eating, we are hopeful gore o tla emela. Unfortunately, on the Saturday morning, the 31 July, after having fought such a good fight for 3 weeks, he gave up, which led to us being here where we are today. Ka ona mantšu ao ke re batho ka moka le amogetšwe ga Mogafe. My appeal ke gore we all know JK. JK was very vibrant. He was very lively. E be se motho o mo selaparaga. My appeal ke gore re alla, re lile, re sa tlolla, but in honor of the short man, let us celebrate his life. A re ntšhe lehu ka mo gae, re celebrate bophelo jwa gagwe, because that is what he would always say, gore ka mmereko wa berekang lehu le swantše le ntšhiwe ka gae. Today le tlile ka gae, a re le ntšheng. That is my appeal, gore let us be easy, as much as painful as it is. Let us try and celebrate his life in the manner that he would have loved his life to be celebrated. Ke ra gore ke dumella le wena mme o dutse mo khoneng o beng o tšhabontšha chorus gore aowa ba tla re ke a phapha, aowa le amogetšwe ga o phaphe, please re thušeng go fola. Ge o na le sefela se o nyaka go sentšha se ntšhe, will join in, re celebrate bophelo jwa Malome Kope. Ka ona mantšu ao, program director ke re batho ka moka ba amogetšwe. Let us continue with the program in a lively manner that the late would have loved to celebrate. Thank you.
Moemedi wa lapa la ga Mogafe re o leboga. Sefako o e beile gabotse. You have made us to feel at home. That burden that was there is getting lighter and lighter. Without further ado, I would like to call upon tribute by neighbor from Tafelkop, as Mr. Collins Matsipe is on the way, coming here. I can attest that we used to call Comrade Kope, we used to call him Comrade Tafelkop. So it is no surprise that today we are saying this. And he would talk the Spedisas Kukuni very, very loudly and very profoundly, without any, very lively as he has been, as most of you knew him. He was as lively as you have described it today. Please welcome, and we would like to call upon the chorus, anyone who can be able to come up with some very good sefela. please be free, because we have been given that freedom by the family. Collins.
Bana ba kgoši meloko le metswalle ya go Mogafe bakgotsi ba ba leng fa baruti go ya ka dikereke ka go fapana ga tsona e ka ba bonyatši ge ke sa re ka thoma ka gore mahloko go lena bana ba kgoši ke fele ke re ge ke ya somewhere ge bang taskile ge bang kgopetse go dira se seng I've got that what we call self-trust and self-confidence. I never panic. But this situation does not permit such. It is hard to address a congregation of this nature with this melancholy surrounding us and the environment and the space in which we are living in. Our milieu is not guaranteed. Our tomorrow is not known by any other person. Ke tamisha ke rialo ba Mogafe ke file mo gore ke tle ke bolele jwale ka moagelane nna sena moagelane wa o JK Mogafe ke hlatholela program director gore gona mo wa ile gona ile Mondobia mo ene ile ngware ke University of Limpopo. By then it used to be called University of the North. Applaud me for that correction. Why saying applaud me for that? JK. He was a clown. He was a guy who used to make situations, even difficult situations, easier. This pressure it's mounting more than it shouldn't be mounting because more than on that note, RJ Spirit being active in situation so that we can ease the pain and the stress in our heads. Bageshu, I can buy a court and bond yes. I'll be very short because of space and time. But ka JK bengas we khausu ka bolela. Ka ge re se bagelane re le ba juji mmogo e se ka taba ya thato ya ka go ba ya gage. E le ka tswalo ya rena ge ile gore bagelane ba rena botswa go thoma batswadi ba rena ba dutse khausu le khausu. Ga se nna le yena ra gile mmogo ke batswadi ba rena. Jwale o ka bona kagišano le phedišano e gore ga se ya lehono ke a go tswa kgole. Bontate Mogafe le the late my father FM Matsepe ne ba le mmogo in business ba le mmogo kerekeng go fitlhela ge rena le bo JK nna re ba šetše morago ba le godimonyana ga rena re ba mmogo re phela mmogo ka moka. Posese se bolelo šiba they can attest to that. Le kua morago bo kwa rena kua borakgadi ya rena e no ba tšhika e le tee ba re dimpho tša gage ge nna ke kgopelwa gapele gore ke tle ke bolediše mo ke be moagelane ba no nthela ba re se kwa lebala gore mo ba kgopela go a se ka phošo rakgadi ya go pulane o rile ga nyalwa thoto e tswang ga Mogafe ya go borakgadi e be e sa ka ke selo be e tlala ngwako. So it is not, I'm not here by a mistake. Ke nna ngwana bo Mokgalabjo, a friend and most other things that we can name. But ereke categorize ke bushe khausu kere ke tloga kua kere not only talk about boagishane bo re bolelishang le bokgotsi ba khausu nna le ena ke sa tšeele ba bang mantšu because other people ba tlo hloka potla tše ba ka tleng ba bolela ka tšona. Nna ya ka Mr. Program Director, allow me not to deviate but to stick on neighborhood. Ntate Mogafe o rile ga ntšwa tšwile mahlalagading a boa kua University of the North re ntšwe re ya godimo lefase a leke o bapala soccer around our area ba le tsebang gore re agelane yoang. It's not something strange to can imagine. Be re ntšwe re le mmogo go iwa godimo lefase. O bana le moya wa gago le phišwana ya gago e nngwe itseng ba bantši ba fela ba re Mogafe o phela a nnoši, Mogafe o phela a nnoši. But re na le bodimiste le ba bang ne re mo tseba gore o nyaka go phela le batho ba bang ka sepopego mang. He was a man of order, a man of principle. Ge a re direng selo seo se nyaka se le very orderly and more so respecting time. A se ka re ga re kopana ka nako ya gore o mongwe o fihlile lata gware. No, that was not his style. E be e le monna wa kagišo le poledišano le peakanyo ya bogabane. And to remark about his style, a man of style, a man of aesthetics, he loved beauty. Le gona yo a le ga ke makale ge seemo se re leng ka moga ga sona se bontšha gona gore this is a send off e re lekang go irela JK Mogafe. I could think if he could organize for himself, maybe something more extra than this could have happened. Ke sa nyatše selo ke no ra gore o ba le ka go katana gore go direge bobotse go be ka tshwanelo. O ka ba bošaedi go ka bolela ka JK Mogafe le turišano le phišano le batho. Wa tshela batho ba go swana le bo Oliver Mrare ba ba phitšeng le bona kua morago. Wa tshela le ena mokgotsi wa gagwe kgauswi tlogeng le colleague e leng Nico Matsebe. Ba bang ba bona re sepetše le bona mosegare le bošego. You'll never know that JK used to galavant. He was a neighbor but galavanting in style. We could organize sessions mo e leng gore re kgona go tloga mo a ba e tšwa le mmerekong a re manna a re eng ga Gauteng re mmetšheng. He will organize tickets. A kgopele bo dimiste le ba bang kua ba rekele di-tickets re enjoy match re boe re tle mo gae. He was a strong supporter of Kaizer Chiefs. Le rena re mošetše morago re phele ka gona tsela eo. And o rile ga ntšwa le kua boleu ge matšatši a e a thomile go bereka more solely in neighborhood. O rile go nna morware o bampitša Kwena. Those days Kwena. But it go tloga ba le nako e tšhentšhang Kwena ya sa ebitše more often. A boang bitša Mošate. Nna re mmitša Tau. So ka matšatši a le ga thoma go šoma kua boleu. A ke tseba re Nico ke la e observe gore ga e bona. Mogala bo ile a reka sefatanaga. We used to know the registration numbers of our vehicles by heart. Le gona yo I can say, ya mathomo ke bile not before PNZ, MSY what la PNZ, the maroon Corolla. So kana kwa yo o le ge ya fetše o judge license. Pe o bona le bosto dunyana around area arena. Mola gae kwa ga Ntate Mogafe o swa tsalwela mo garageng. He used to take his vehicle are ke tlišitše ka mo ge šuka mo e dula ka mo. Tšateleng be fetše a e robadišitše mowa the following day a sa itše a ile mmerekong ka maoto. O tlo bua mmereko ke re be ke fele ke re o tla fihla ebile ke latetše ka 10 minutes go sa moare gante o tshwenya ke eng ka gore e ka mogešo koloi ka mogabe yona. So ke phedišano e a beng a e tlwaetše ya gore ga a rone ke gore sa gabo o ba re sa gešo se be go yena. Re tšwa kgole ka taba eo ya phedišano. And I remember some years back, around early 90s again, ga šetše a movile mola sekolong a ile go B3 mo go bontšhitšeng gore wa šoma le yena le nna ke tlogile sekolong ke ile go tše ding tša kgwebo ke ile at one stage ke re ke ya Durban ke re ke ya felo ba re ke Camperdown ke bone a truck e ne ke nyako e reka mowe ka gona go lebelela go tswa patletša o tšea selesela ge ke le mo tseleng ke malaka re tau ke tseleng ge ke ile ale ke re ke ilo nyaka sa go bereka ge nka re ke shota ka petrole o se kwa makala o e romela o tsebe re ke ile kae. He instantly offered me 5,000 rands. Ke bola ka taba go phedišana le moagelane le ngwane eno goba le mokgotsi no o ntiretše ka tsela yeo mogala yoo a era gore le nna ke sepele ka tsela ke tle ke be e mong ka moso. A lot can be said by JK, but one thing that you shouldn't forget saying ke gore le yena o ba rata mmino. He was a music lover. Yesterday ke kwele ganyane ke fitla mo lapeng o ka re somebody ba ba bolela gore taba gore o ka re ba rata koša efe le efe le efe, especially tša di fela this and that. But I said quietly ka tshwenya ke phone ke re ke tlo ba fa another special song ke ya Shy, If I Ever Fall in Love, ke koša e ba e kwa bose mo go PNZ ga ke sa any minute go tsena ka mola ke yona or renta or teenagers lose him. So he used to enjoy music, especially R&B. Go tloga mo go na le nngwe ba re ke tonkana ni go tla itse ba re tonkana ke e kwele go yana le bona JK. A neighbor with advices, a neighbor with diplomacy, and a neighbor with a serious sense of humor. O tla bona go se gabotse go ba o tla re dilo di se gabotse a go bontšhe tsela a rawa a re dire ka e ngwana kgoši. And I remember for go thashitše the story of the 7th of July. O ba fela nthoma gantši a nthoma ka kua mošate a mpha ditaeledi JK a ro Makgweng o Binoni or Springs ka tša mošomo. And I used to convey messages to him, ke mo fe feedback where possible. But I remember in 2, 3, 4 years back we wa ira a mistake of some kind ka lebala go mo fa a notice of one occasion e tla beng le gona ka mo mošate. On his arrival here I go ba re go na le taba mohuta the following morning a senke ba homola o ntatile rawa kwena I don't know you to be doing this ke re mohuta mang ta o rawa gape ke dumara le ge ke le Makgweng ke le kae ke be in touch ke tsebe gore go iragala e mo gae ke se ka fetoga le arogi. Please do so. E re ka nako efe kapa efe mphemela e ja eo ka gore o ka go etša ba bagolo a šupa ba mošate ba lebetše go ka molemoša seo ka se thabela ka be ka se rotoša ka sefa ba beng ba rena ba leboga ba re hleng re ne le ngwana na le tlhokomelo. So on the 7th o nthomile ka mošate, the 7th of this July, in disguise not knowing gore o tlo ba le pressure a swarege gagolo o ba no ba 1.5 meter away from me re le mo chemistry mo Groblersdal. Then he said to me no one a funeral that was going to a burial ya ntate Modeme Andries, may his soul rest in peace, re ile mmoloka ka Sunday on tela man ke ona le mahloko ka tsela e a ke tsebe wa kwele fitliša taba jeo ka mošate o bo bolele gore go riegala jwang go ka tloga bona la mamfao a tšea diphutwana tša ge ra be re laela no sure we'll see each other then. Ka Sunday, to my surprise, when I arrived at the funeral at the homestead here that day Modeme, I found the guy being nowhere ke re šupa JK. But late in the afternoon I learned that he was not feeling well, and under pressure or under duress they took him to hospital. Isa le re laelana ka no dio nna le ena, but still now re thoma go kgolwa gore ka nnete taba eo ke yona gore mogala yo wa go rena ga gona ka ge re kopane ke yona tsela e bana bešo. Without much waste of time, Mr. Program Director, allow me to quote something from our late leader Nelson Mandela, even if I will not quote it verbatim. I was just seated there in my mind. There is this quote. In actual fact, it says, we all have a short living time in this world. all of us has a short living time in this world, and we are therefore bound to partake in the transformation of the society in whichever way you or I desire it to be. So manjwa mohuta o ke ile ke a share le yena in one particular moment, Mogafe, until I know you can never go wrong ka mogala yo. Sa se boletseng ke nnete, all we need to do ke re tšee bana ba ba ye dikolo, and this, he was trying to amplify, to elucidate what the code was actually saying. Jwale ke re le ka mo lapeng ba Mogafe and friends, let's shoulder on, re tšee direction e banjwa e swere, modimo a fokotše mathata, mo gongwe we can survive this virus, ra fetša le rena ka moso bana ba godile ba ya pele. May his soul rest in peace. I hope whichever I've said, I got jela motho that the program director manju ba re ga se mapono ga bolae ka bontši, a re leboge mana ba kgoši.
And then one of the 24 elders came to me. They gave me a chair of gold to sit in front of God in His presence. And as I was there, I wanted to sing for Him, and I thought, if Miriam was here, Miriam was going to say this. Fu bengsa hai hu ngodire di piri emakunu tu fu bengsa hai hu o tseba tsohle tsa rona, o tseba tsohle tsa rona, dipiri emakunutu. And then, after I had done all that, I wanted to give him a special greeting. And I said, Haki Hopula.
Tla re leboge neighbor, friend, family, everything. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tate Matsipe, you have outdone yourself. You have just summarized him the way some of us who knew him got away into his life. We witnessed exactly those characteristics that Comrade Kope had. Very meticulous, right on time, straightforward. With him, there is no half-truth. He will just tell you the way in which it is, and you will be friends. Even if he has told you, no, Comrade Steve, this thing is not right. It cannot be right, you know. And another thing, very important thing, the comrade loved his home. He loved Skukuni land, he loved Davelkop. He taught some of us. I'm from the other side, Kamushola, Wanukaula, from Mulechi. So he taught us how to speak Spedi Samo Skukuni. So we also learned from him on many other things. but most importantly, honesty and straightforwardness. What a character, what a comrade he was, what a human being he was. Thank you very much. Ntobeng Khatjep, a former student at Buleu High School. Can you please come in and be able to share with us your experience? How, you know, I used to address him as if I know. I always thought that you are my peer, you know. Hanti, no, you have been taught by my. Thank you very much. But you have been a very good human being. I can see that you come from those hands. Eh? Thank you very much.
Kita kaditila kemo etaribi kita kilifelafe.
Ke a leboga program director ka kopano e bohloko e ya manyami ke tamiše babina tau ba Mogafe re re mahloko re tamiše ba masepala fa ke bona mmeyara Mathebe Julia le bo MMC ba Mshate ba Matsepe ba Ramopudu ke nnete gore ke kgopetše fa go tlo fa mabedi a mararo ka bonyane jo ke bo tsebago ka Matsepe ka ntate Mogafe se la lebala gore o e boletše koina fa le gore they were inseparable twins. Nna ke batsa ba nrutile ka babedi ke rutile ke Matsepe Nico le Mogafe JK back then ka 87-88 at Buleu High School. I was one of those students ba referra gore ke di troublemakers because ya nna can be hurtful to you ga ile gore ga ba hlokomela ga botse le ena JK na tseba gore we were very difficult to handle if as well prepared. So ke nnete magagesho gore indeed it's a sad day. What a man, what a leadership. Whatever, there is this word leadership which is being misused at times because everybody who ascend upwards politically, Christianically, whatsoever, come management or by abuser. No, I'm being honest, I want to talk about this as well. Because the word their leadership, it found resonance with J.K. Mogafe. He was selfless, unselfish. Ntate Mogafe was not just a person, but a leadership is earned. And indeed, he earned his leadership because he could inspire us as young people. Diago, you would attest to that. Bona urutile Robert Tshwenya. Mara, he could teach us one thing. 1988, we were doing matric. By the academic day, that very day inspired us a great deal. University of the North, University of Limpopo. Because of his inspiration, that day ke gopola ba apere dikao na academic regalia. Ba ile ba re bontšha gore go kgonega go ba ka mogo. Mind you rena ba bang ba boletse gore ba ne di shopo bo nna be re tswa ka mo go hlakiwago.
rena re bao be le gore kgone robala o swa ja ga ba re rumme ba re reka menotlwana le dihlogwana ga oni ga tata go Kope Mogafe e tloga distance because nna ga o tloga ka gae ke dula ba peding ke santse go feta Matebeleng ke ka ga Kopa ko reka mara you will run because o tseba ga botsotso le hono ka sheba ka moro but ge re be re le ka classing a kgona gore botša gore it is possible and indeed it's possible ge re tlo re yes it is possible you must look upon us look at us we studied there in Teflop we were inspired by him he could tell us how possible it is sometimes when you live where you must develop he inculcated the spirit of developing positive thinking at all times there was a motto ya ko Boleu by bitša non omnes morimpu ga ba re translate ka English in ore nothing is difficult for a brave from him we learned that because he could translate gore what is the meaning of this a re ga ngatresa a re go nna re wena Magnus Malan ka re how why Magnus Malan because he was a history teacher ka re enjoys his teaching why are Magnus Malan and we did it until to his death and I'm saying this I'm being honest not very long ago on the 19th of June Kope e be le program director kwa ga ya modiro go mshimano ke pitching le ena ba magane le ena go tšeng go swana le nna ra go sokola ge a celebrate 18 years ya go ba in the practice ya legal practice before Hakra invite Kope said he was proactive he said no who is the program director there rara how I want a program director I am the program director tell us when out and to share go develop the program ge a fihla in the morning because he was always on time he says to me e ka program la ka kra gore ka develop ka mara because ba phela so phone ka fa a swere tablet ka mo ka mara why should we waste paper when you have the gadget gore can make everything easy or no I didn't realize how wise are you until now then we developed the program together we consulted the speakers and they spoke he ran that program very well little did I know gore I see and hear from JK Lamafelelo tabe bohloko thata a moya wa gago roba le ka khutšo ke nnete gore koloi ya gage mathomo e be e le Mitsubishi Tradia ye grey ge a fetša ke ga tlo sepela ka e maroon ge re bontšhana re fela a re botša ka mokgwa e leng gore is developmental kore ga a nagana o nagana broadly mara a sa re šie morago ke gopola ge ke sa le tishere kwa hlanganane ntate Matsepe Nico wena le yena be le mo the BEC ya SADU and SADU by then it was not yet demarcated e be sa le ya Sekhukhune le a broad organization hey ke rile mathata kwa wa ka tishere mpsa be ke tumme ka tšona ke gopola ge ba etla ba tlo re seka fale nna ke nyako tšea advantage ya gore mara these ones are my parents are my mentors for obvious reasons they will take side but Kope was so straightforward a lebelela taba ka mokgweleng ka gona a kgona go ka re a hlola re kgala thata re go fetša gore kgala ka kwa nna a fetšang kgadile gape ka ntle gore ga re rie ka mokgwa mshimana gae gore o tlo kgone go gola ene ke nnete ke ka fao ke ile ka fetša ke theeditše ge ba etswa ba tliša B3 kwa ke mo ka go bona bohlokwa jwa bakgalajwe ba we were told that there's B3 in Springs they opened a wing ya B3 ka Sekhukhune Limpopo the organization e go jwala re bolelago ke nagana gore is national, because wherever I drive ke bona di branch tša B3 ye phuthilego tate. Ke itšwenne the first day ge ba fihla mo go nna ka kwiša gore re santse re continue ka the spirit of local economic development. Mme ya ra kere wa kwa gore ke bolela ka eng, the LED. Wa tseba, I'm very selfish. Mme ya ra ka confirm tabeng go ne gona gore nako nngwe nna ke a ibotšiša tšo tša moto. Sometimes I like asking difficult questions. Gore ga gore LED, by the way, what does that mean? But get the local economic development. But then when you talk about local economic development, when we have aspiring and young developing entrepreneurs and business people, why can't we develop them and outsource outside of our municipality? Then we lose the meaning and we fail to interpret the meaning of LED. Kope, he did just as he was. Marane opened his office kwa Mayorsdal, Albertine. Marauchwa mapedi. Kope said to him, Chairman, welcome, Chairman. Yeah, Chairman, welcome. Yeah, officially, Mara Kope made sure gore monagesho bula office fa ke ga tloga go ntwane nngwe ya triangle nyana ke e bona le bona ga letsena ka Groblersdal ne go bia ka kwa or ka mo yone e riang e advertise business ya magane for sure ya work yone o ba nya ka go ba developer gore ba gole ba ntse ba ka mokgwa ga go tlo ba mantši program director be ke tlo ba motelele wa le bo chairman ba tlile chairman a ke ne le ena la mafello be ke sa motša kere now santseng o hire chairman ke tle ke be labor relations manager ya kwa go lena ne re le Soweto were sitting along gore ke tle ke gone o deala ka ba ba utswa go ditopo tše nnyane a ke re ba fela ba re go ne le lekouso ge batho ba tšea jwale o kry-a ka mo go B3 ba tlo tšea topo tše nnyane ka re jwale ba ke ba ba nyaka go nna bao program director a moya wa JK Kope Mogafe o robale ka khutšo ke a leboga.
That was in my head, and I just said to him, Be loud, Haki Fisa, O Sike,
Yeah. In life, there is what we call revenge, on anything. That is the difficulty of calling upon your former student to come and attest. He was still going to talk to you about how many lashes Comrade Kope gave him. So I had to stop it just there for now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, former people or student, for that enlightening. I'm very happy about what you have said. When I demonstrate now, after this, because I don't want to run out of time. Comrade Kope will never allow us to start late and to finish also to overstay. That will not be honoring him. But Demusho, now we after Sicelo, Nkos, please come on very quickly. That is Community Development and Speakers Forum representative. You see, that's why I had to stop when after this, Kgopela, former principal, I be ready. Immediately, as a Pelamu, I'm not even going to come back here. Immediately, as no where mo, Kgopela, former principal and mentor, Buleu High School, Mr. E.K. Vashele at Lemo, and then after Sicelo Nkosi. Thank you very much. Very much, Program Director. The Mogafe family, the relatives, the colleagues and the community, the government leaders who are in this place. Thank you very much for coming through to pay tribute to JK. Yes, JK. I'll be very short. I attest to what you have said. I know personally that he wouldn't want anything that is out of order. I arrived at B3, introduced by the chairman, Mr. Mogafe, and all other people were there. And we came indeed, served under the Skutu Mogafe Foundation, and until B3 started saying, let us move these guys to the B3 group. And I went there, started serving under JK. I shared an office with JK. I learned from JK. I got irritated by his way of correcting things. You would never say something wrong, and he would just let it go like that. Yes, at first I felt, this guy. And I said, Mogafe, but why didn't you become an attorney or an advocate, something like that? Because he would listen to everything that you say. Later, when JK started realizing that I am a motivational speaker, then JK said to me, I was never Stelo to JK, I was Sicelo Kankosi. He said, you need to teach me this craft. I said, JK, you are too humble. I doubt there is anything under the sun that I can ever teach you. And I remember our first encounter as motivational speakers, because I could tell, and you converse with the person, you can tell the depth, the interrogating mindset that came straight from the rich, well-developed soul that JK was. And I remember I was struggling just before Peter gave me my first vehicle then. JK called and then said, Sicelo, where are you? I said, I'm home. And then he said, but why nkarwa matha nje? Hey, ufukutse mkhaba wo. And I thought to myself, Mogafe, more I want to go to the SABC. He was very health conscious. You would know that. And you would appreciate that. And I said, Mogafe, I need to go to the SABC. I've got a show with Kanye Makubane. It was SAFM. He said, what's about game? Utloba lata wena. Catch a taxi. Utlo mfumana mo office. Then he took me to SABC, Mogafe. And I introduced Mogafe. On the spot, Kanye Makubane could tell the sharpness, the richness, the powerfulness from JK's mind. And she said, I need a speech from you. Well and good. There were programs that we were running at B3 at that time. I felt it was too high profile. I then said, JK, do you mind taking this one? He said, let's go, my lord. And we went.
JK mesmerized that audience with his unique voice, original, the composure, the projection, the stage presence. You know, JK was never a speaker that spoke to the mind only. He spoke to the soul, he spoke to the spirit. He was deep. I would have spoken about other things, so many other things. But I've been tasked, to speak about JK as a speaker. And believe you me, he would have wanted that. Azange ba re tlo bolela ka P3. O ya kae P3? He was a leader. He was a leader. When I say JK was a leader, I mean the acronym would have been ke batlile ke kenya matsogo mo dipokotong, and he would hate that from a speaker. Did not want that. The lead, L for love, he had this love. But rightfully so. JK was straightforward. JK would tell you, you were not going to second guess with JK. You knew exactly where you stood. But he would remain a friend. Very truthful, straight to the point. But he remained a friend. Then the empathy that is for Ina, JK would now have this sense of empathy. Great ambition. He was ambitious. The dedication. No one can challenge me in this room if I say JK was dedicated. JK was a speaker, the three-dimensional speaker. JK would speak from experience, would speak from reading. And JK would be able to speak from the spiritual point of view. You could feel where he was taking you as a speaker. A random visit that I would get from him. Enclosure. When I realized that something was wrong, it's when SNC, the company that we have started, under the entrepreneurial hub of South Africa, which is B3, SNC, we had a campaign called the Legacy Tour. We covered a whole lot of big radio stations. I said to my wife, Norman, something is wrong here. Kuze ngishayele isikhathi ithandazo. JK has not called and critiqued and applauded. Something was wrong. That was JK for you. Program director without taking much of your time. Ntate Mogafe Timist. Ntate Matthews Mogafe. Ntate Nico Matsipe. I don't see other B3 leadership. Cass, Umar, I see. Tabani, Nico. I think Nomonde is here and other. Thank you very much for affording us this opportunity to interact with this giant. May the Holy Lord increase you in greatness, wisdom and love. Let us keep spreading greatness. Thank you.
I hear you, but I'm still not convinced. Because where you come from, people worship other things. Why did you choose me? And I quickly remembered that Bopi Loki Wena Fela Impamatu.
Ba la pala Mogafe, ba company ya B3 le ka moka bao ba tsebanago le Mogafe ke re mahloko. Program Director, I'll just read what I've written for the sake of time. Program Director, I would like to thank the Mogafe family for selecting me among so many people who have crossed paths with JK to talk about this very humble man on this day. I pay tribute on behalf of many teachers who taught with him, served with him in many committees, and thousands of those who were influenced by him as learners. I'm one of those who are very much grateful to have been part of his life till his last days. I came to know the Mogafe family in 1973 after our forced removal from Chabelo to Mutetema. JK's father, the late Onesmus Mogafe, was one of the few people, if not the only one, who owned a car in Tafelkop. He always fatherly gave me a lift to Tefluop whenever he took his son, Bra Simon, to Tefluop. Brasai and I belong to the era of the 1976, the era where in Tefluop we rubbed shoulders with our current president, Frank Chikane, Tera Lukota, and many others. In 1977, armed with the natural energy of youth and eloquence associated with university graduates, I became one of the new teachers at the recently established Buleu Secondary School under I.S. Masula. Mr. Onesmus Mogafe was the school committee chairperson. There were no interviews. I got the job. As a historian, I taught history. It was the history of the National Party generals like Louis Botha, General Herzog, Malang and Smarts as they fought and wrestled for the policies of apartheid. In the early 80s, in the matric class, I came across essays written in history by JK, and I immediately singled him out as an intelligent student in my class. I'm trying to tell you, Program Director, that I was his teacher. In 1987, JK, together with Nico, who was always on the quiet side than JK, and they all belonged to the era of 1986. We who belonged to the era of 1976 were always monitored by the apartheid regime and brought to be silenced. But JK and Nico and others who joined us were also monitored, but they refused to be silenced. As expected, he taught history and English. There were no interviews. I'm trying to tell you, Program Director, that I was the principal of the school. JK's energy, enthusiasm, willingness to learn, his intellectual sharpness, and organizational ability neutralized his inability to sing at our school. He was not good at singing. He was instrumental in branding the school as a recognized institution in our area. Neighboring high schools were left far behind as our debating team and drama teams collected many accolades at schools' competitions. Students like Bongani Diako are examples of fine actors in the dramas and plays that JK wrote. Talking to him in English was never compromised. He would scream whenever a student wanted to talk to him in vernacular, English! And any student wanted to complain and was not able to master the language will go back to class. JK was instrumental in creating the culture of teaching and learning in Tafelkop. Together with other hard-working teachers in our days, we created a school that was a magnet and pulled learners from many areas in our district and beyond. We contested this space with other schools like Kope, Ramhlokolo, Zenzeleni, and Manglemang, and Huiti, and Pirikulove, and many other schools. He became the only choice for the position of deputy principal after Mr. Masrumula MP, who left for Abrams Rute, and Mr. Sokoli for Mushate. I can assure you that no one was killed, neither was any brown envelope exchanged for him to ascend to the authority of being deputy principal. He was a man, I can assure you, he was a man of great integrity. He was punctual, orderly, neat, I've tried to be like him today, hardworking, and transformational. He knew most of the learners and the families they came from, while I enjoyed indoctrinating them in the assembly with the Buleu culture, because singing was not his strong area. He knew how to handle teachers who were stepping out of line and enjoyed the respect, partly because he was also their SADU leader. And those that were, like Kachepe said, very truant, will always, when they see him, run away and say, "Eish, Daimana Shuwe." And those that were very slow to go to class, Mogafe, the deputy, made sure that he gave each and everyone a chalk. He made sure that he went to each and every teacher and said, "Here's a chalk, here's your duster." And you have no choice because you had the tools and you had to go to class. He led by example and even took the graveyard periods of the day while teachers like Dennis, Mudisha, and others enjoyed the morning periods. The graveyard periods were the periods after lunch, after they've eaten food at Marampa. With a loud voice, he would crack a joke in the next class, and if you are not careful, you'll find that your learners are laughing in your class. You will not know, but they were laughing at the joke he had cracked in the next class. I indicated to him that he was the obvious choice for the position of principal of Buleu after me, but little did I know that he was getting into a project that was not to serve Tafelkop alone, but the entire country. He later confessed to me that it took him a full month to gather courage to tell me that he planned to leave the school. I'm more than ever convinced that only God can save us from this virus. He always introduced me to his friends as, I quote, "Prof, the man who taught me management." That is the accolade I always accepted with humility. He also said that I must talk at his funeral, and I've thus done so. All I can say now is that rest in peace, JK. Your project at Buleu Senior Secondary School has been accomplished. Many of your students occupy positions of influence in the country. May all those whose lives has been touched by JK, wherever you are, whether watching virtually or here, stand up and salute him and join me as I say, "It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul." Bala Papa Humoche.
Tšatši le bohloko lapeng la Mogafe. Meloko le metswalle tshidisegang, homotšegang. Sefapano ke boga, wena moluki wa ka. Madia tsoma ngwebe limetsi lihlakori limetsi lihlakori limetsi lihlakori ka gona ke re ntlhatswe ki be mo tle ki luke ka sebetsa jwang le jwang ha guli tolentusa ha guli tolentusa ha guli tolentusa. Mogapa o mogolo o wile dithaga tša lla bošogošogo. Fa ke bolela ka Jameson, Kope, batlogolo ba mmitšago chief, bašomi mmogo ba mmitša my lord. Tau ya tswako e wile fase ka mariri magagešo. Difahlegong tša lena ba ga Kope le meloko le metswalle. Ke a bona le sekile megogo le hule ya lehlaba boka le rumo go ba sabola ya magale a mabedi. Go thata go lena go boima fela le letša mahlo a lena dithabeng go mmopa batho. Morena modimo ga palle ke selo ke ena tsibileng gore tšatši la lekgono le tlabe le kgonne senko. Maraga thetho a kgoro ya ga Kope le mawara shoka e le go masogana maleta kgoro. Ba tlabe ba gakanegile ba gagametše ga ile Kope chief a rutugile mongwa mmušo a mmiditše. A fane a tseba gore lehu ke kobo re a polelana ba lapa la ga Kope na. Malobanyana e be e le ba bangwe. Lekgono ke lena ka moso e ka ba nna. Tshidisegang humolang le fe modimo marapo šielang Jesu sebaka o tla tseba go fetola. Lena bašomi mmogo le a tseba gore e be le seroto. Le a tseba gore ga le gakanega o ba le gakolola a le bja tseleng. Fela se tšeen dat bethena ba nga e šomiša la e lahla fase. E phagamišetšeng godimo. A e phagamela godimo. Gore mo mmušong wa modimo a yang gona dula tseba gore ga e le mešomo e bolokegile. Robala ka khutšo tau ya tswako. Maraga thetho le maora shoka a bohlokong. Ke a leboga.
Temošo tla go lebo morwa. That's why gale o ntse o e tla monna mo. O botse ba ga botse gore o swere taba tše di botse. Ditaba tše di tla humotšang ba ba gešo ba ka mokana a rena re lemoga o leboga morwa. Ke tlo kgopela jwalo ka ba gala nako e tlo ba erešia go na le baemedi staff representatives tša B3. Very, very important item. Ke tlo kgopela gore le no re mantswe ka mokgwa le motsebang ka gona. Ke kgopela gore le tle mo le le babedi ke Nomonde Snomadi a tle le Tabane Mogaripa. O mongwe ge a fetša o mongwe le yena a bolabole. Le tla interrupta fela ke mmeo. Es wegen
Jesus. more. I would like to extend my greetings to everyone gathered here this afternoon, the Mogafe family, B3 family, and the members of the funeral industry at large, including all the other people that are joining virtually. A warm welcome to all of you. We are here to honor and celebrate the life of Mr. Mogafe, JK, my Lord. But we ask ourselves, how do we begin to do that? How do we begin to celebrate when our hearts are broken and we feel so much loss? This reminds me of a stanza from a poem that reflects our emotions today. The author is unknown, however it's written. The thing about that is that it is bound to bring shock and sorrow to those who loved and befriended the deceased. This is so true. When we received the news about JK on Saturday, we were all shocked. It felt like a bad dream. We all wanted to wake up and realize that no, it was not true. But we are gathered here today because yes, it is true. The standard continues. When we lose the one we love, we struggle to deal with their absence, and because we feel deeply, we will then grieve even deeper, and that's the human heart. So the travel that we're traveling this afternoon is because of the human heart. We are feeling the pain, and we have to travel this road. But we want to remember that we were in this bus with this man, and he has reached his destination. But he had goals, he had things that he wanted to be done. So our duty as the people that are remaining here today is to ensure that we do what he believed in. My name is Nomonde Sinwamadi, and I'm from B3 head office. It is very difficult to be standing here and talking on behalf of all the members of staff that would like to come upstage and say something about JK. JK was a father. People who knew him will say he was a father to Basetsane. But those who knew him well, they will tell you that he was a father to many. Others even say he was a father to the nation. We've seen that even at work. I just want to tell you something. There are these months in the whole year. January month is called a Mampara month. Those who know. We call it a Mampara month because most of people during that time of the month don't have money. And Mr. JK will come in the office and come in the department and buy cake because there is this lady that her birthday is in January, and buy cake for everyone. He was a nice parent. I'm saying he was a nice parent because he was very loud. He's one of those that you hear coming from that end and you start cleaning your act. Even at work, we were doing that. And he had the love for people. He'll come to each and every department to check at everyone. But then at the time, we didn't see that. Or even if we saw that, we thought, lo, uzanalento yokuthi uphethe la uzakoscheck ukuthi sonke sikhona. But I must say, during his absence, when he was not in the office, that void was felt. His humor, someone touched on his humor. JK knew and he was very aware that he's short. And when we were called upstage, JK will come upstage and start talking about himself. Noguthi umfishane. Ufuna ukuthi yonke lento yakhe kuba mfishane kungabi subject, and everyone must listen to what he had to say. Standing up here and having to talk about him, it's not easy because this man was a speaker, as Stelo said. Ngicabanga ukuthi mayingimile la ngiqala ngikhuluma and then says ukuthi ay man lo uyangingiza angavela la awa awusinomonde hlisa moki bulele. He was that type of a person. He never ran out of airtime. He always had something to say. But we want to take lessons out of him. If we really say we want to honor JK, what is it that JK believed in? One of the things amongst many is that JK was very jealous
and protective of the brand, B3, that we all know. We will hear that if we are in meetings, we will hear that if you engage with him in respect of the clients and what B3 had to deliver. So as the remaining B3 staff, we want to keep the flame of B3 burning if we really want to honor. I know there's a lot of things that have been said here about JK, all good things that will make us happy. But I know some of us are not happy and we feel that loss. Tubasetsani, I know all of this is like, okay, it's all good, but my dad is not here. What is going to happen to my broken heart? I just want to leave you with one verse taken from the book of Bible of 1 John 3, verse 20. It says, God is greater than our heart and knows all things. So God knows what you're going through. God can see your broken heart and is going to carry you through. Believe in that. To the Mogafe family, thank you for sharing JK with us. Sibamba ngazo zombini, Guni, and sithi akwihlanga lungihlanga dudusekani.
I have to do this because I'm short. I'm just getting it out of the way, the same way Mr. Mogafe would do it. To the family, the church leaders, the chairman of B3, Mr. MS Mogafe, the B3 board, ESCO, Menko, regional directors, CIC, Mr. Kass, the supervisors, fellow B3 employees, the leadership that is present, Comrade Mateve, distinguished guests, the community at large, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all, including those who are watching through the YouTube. Just briefly, how I met Mr. Mogafe, JK. Many people do not know at work, I'm here to speak on behalf of the company, they did not know that actually he was my deputy principal. Mr. E.K. Bashile was my principal. So he would proudly walk and tell people that this is my product. All those who actually went to school at Buleu, they would tell you that Mr. Mogafe was always very proud of his students or his learners and referred to them as his own products. But I'm here to talk about his impeccable leadership style, because when I got to B3 in 2015, he welcomed me. He's the one that headhunted me and said, come and work for B3. Mr. Mogafe was very solid. He was very consistent. That is why I like his quote that he always said, "Are leadership is about consistency." He was definitely on the ground. That kind of a leader, he would go and sell a policy while you walk into a Pick and Pay. He will sell a policy to everyone. He will greet everyone at the office from your cleaner, your general worker, up until to management. So he didn't class people at all. And that, as leaders at B3, we take and will always remember that. He was very consultative. His leadership style, he was very consultative. Maybe many people do not know that I'm one of those who Mr. Mogafe used to call when they have their meetings at the top there. He would call me and say, what do you think of this? He would say, between me and you. He will tell me some other things and say, between me and you, this is what is happening. What do you think? So, very consultative leadership. I like that about him. He was a good listener as well. So, and he was a quick, I'm sorry to use the word crap detector. So in a meeting, while we are busy raising issues and then you offer him, he will tell you immediately, say, no, stop it. We're not talking about that. Move here. So he was sharp like that, very intelligent. He loved education and personal development. One of the things that we will take at B3 as staff is that he would encourage everybody to read. To this date, he took one of my books. I don't know where is it. He never returned it. But he encouraged everybody to study. I remember last year sometime he asked me to register a course at Gibbs for him. But unfortunately, I couldn't because it was expensive. So, but now the chairman is here. I'll talk to him. Maybe a bursary will be organized for me. Now, one of the things that I can tell you about JK as well, he always preached progress. You know, to everyone, every staff member at B3. He would say, look at this guy. He came here like this, but look at him now. So that is how he will encourage people to say, you need to always progress. When you enter as an agent at B3, he will say, from today, you have to change. People have to see that you have got a job. So people must see the difference. So he had his way to actually encourage staff at work. Now, he said, and I quote, good leaders duplicate themselves, unquote. Indeed, JK has not died. He has multiplied. Chairman, we are here. We are ready to lead. JK has multiplied. Speaking about his departure, program director, it came as a shock to us. There's no ways that we can say to the family that can actually comfort them, because they will be alone in time and thinking about the loss. The family, Basetsana, his life partner, including Klebrile, the daughter. We always known Klebrile as the daughter. Mr. Matsepe, we cannot imagine the pain. But I can share a story, program director, quickly. I remember when I lost my own son in 2016, no words comforted me. Even today, sometimes the pain hits me. But with necessary support, I am strong and still standing today. So what I'm trying to say to family members, we are saying, be there for his family, support them, be available. As B3 as well, will always be available all the time for them. I just pray that you accept. That is all I can say. Accepting is the first step to healing. I pray that you accept. I know that it is difficult. Martin Luther King says, and I quote, we must accept finite disappointment, but we must never lose infinite hope, unquote. Find it in your heart to accept. I pray that Jehovah God give you strength. In closing, Mr. Program Director, the President, Thabo Mbeki, when he resigned in his speech, he said, gloom and despondency and have never defeated adversity. Trying times need courage and resilience. Our strength as a people is not tested during the best of times, unquote. To the Mogafe family, your loss as a family is not yours alone, but B3 as a group, we are feeling this loss too. Find strength. He has rested. Rest in power. JK, be at peace. Robala ka kgotso.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Let my worship be a pleasing aroma unto God. Let my worship be a pleasing aroma to God. Let it be not just a gift, but a pleasing aroma to God. And after telling him that, I wanted to tell him my...
Thank you very much, Program Director. Amandla, long live Satu, long live. Long live and that is spirit of Comrade JK, long live. Amandla. Thank you, Program Director, once more. Let me start by taking this opportune time in space to indeed forward our revolutionary greetings, homage, and condolences to Mogafe's family. In front of you here today, representing South African Democratic Teachers Union, SATU, is the chairperson of Franz Mhlala branch, Legao MK. From the onset, let me indicate that we want also to pass our greetings to the family of Biridre, that which indeed extended his mandate to entire community at large. We equally pass our greetings and revolutionary impact to our local municipality, Elias Mutswaledi, the leadership of ANC, COSATU, and Communist Party in the area of Skukune. Agiti esbaga se tsomeka gore nna ka bonna ke share a fence le mangwane wa JK. Ge le khule le hlaga ke le kwile ka mo go machi ka nnete it was a shock. But believe me, comrades and friends, we are here to soothe your hearts, to soothe your ever challenge you are going through. When I become a teacher, for sure, Motafriko 94, SATU was led by Comrade JK, led by Comrade Nico. Kibone again here, our first leader as well, who was indeed part of them, Comrade Partha is here. Allow me this space, Mogafe's family, to indicate that we lost a leader. We lost a leader of immeasurable leadership acumen. He was a reader, he was someone whom, when you work with, you will learn every day. When I open my code, my first one, he will say to you, "Na how? Police." That's how JK was. He could tell you from a distance and advance to say, whatever you do, if it is not within the close parameters of policy, it will never go right. Definitely, Comrade Collins, you are there. Nage thoma go tsena ka go SATU ka 1988, 98. Ke re ke tsena as sports desk convener. Re bapetse bolo le bo Collins ra bapala bo the late killer, coach ra ke bone abuti Jameson. Yeah. E be le coach ra rena. Re ba nkgethe ba le go and lead SATU, it was because of sports. And JK supported us immeasurably. One thing to indicate to the family, when B3 was formed, SATU was never left behind. Even now, JK, we are going to have a function, a PTGM. He will say to you, "How? Your package is ready. Tell me what more you want. Do you want lunch as well?" We knew from upset or B3, it was music system, you want shelter, you'll get it from B3 as SATU. So today, comrades and friends, we have lost. But definitely, if I want to be short and to the point, Program Director, the family of Mogafe and B3 know it for conscience that you gave us a leader, and today we bring back this leader being silent. But his words shall always be in our hearts and in our minds. The baton will be carried forward. The president indicated directly that Mapila or Utaba Molle Naga Fendrale ka Thursday. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I don't think time is for us now. We are terribly running out of time. I'm going to call upon Comrade Nix Lesufi. He has been with Comrade Kope in Azaso. He is our current chairman of TEFLUOP Azaso, which was formed, which was revived, so to say, by the likes of Comrade Kope, who was very, very instrumental in its revival. And just to be able to do that, he used to tell us in that meeting that Renar just kukuni, but wagos kukuni bakhabu jampen. And he was referring to none other than the Premier of Limpopo, Comrade Stan Matawata. I say, aye, Comrade Steve, you must listen to him, man. Khabu just kukuni kwa. Okay, 1 month. Thank you, Comrade. Next.
Amandla ke leboge mswara marapo msepediši wa modiro ke leboge family ya Mogafe meloko le metswalle ke leboge leadership ya local government B3, friends and colleagues. I'm standing here on behalf of TEFLUOP students who were in Azaso during the period of the early and to the mid-80s. I am the current caretaker chairperson of the group. My term of office actually expired in December 2019, but due to COVID, we could not convene to elect the new leadership. And therefore, I am by default almost responsible to taking care of the issues that pertains to them. So I am indeed privileged and honored to be able to be speaking on behalf of that rare group of students who, in the mid-80s, deemed it necessary to render the country ungovernable and apartheid unworkable. JK, Comrade Kope, as we called him, was part and parcel of those discussions. He was the commensurate activist, and the activists, by definition, is one of those people who are strongly moved by injustice and would probably take irrational action to correct that injustice. Of course, at that stage of our lives, we believed that we were roaring young lions. We believed that we could overthrow the government. And we always believed that through the anvil of mass action and the hammer of armed struggle, we were going to overcome the apartheid government. And indeed, we invited the full force of the apartheid government to invade our university, disrupt our programs, disrupt our studies, send people into exile, kill people. We've lost a lot of our colleagues, which were friends with JK, the likes of Njinga Sindan, a son of Mutsi and Groblersdal. So we were dispersed. Some of us went our own ways, others went their own ways. But when the dawn of freedom came, and those who were in exile came back, those who were in MK were resuscitated back into society, we reformed ourselves. people went to various institutions to complete their studies. And of course, the spirit of brotherhood, the spirit of comradeship was so strong that we decided that we need to reconvene and maintain, the perpetual spirit of brotherhood, that until the last one of us, we will always be next to each other. We will always support each other. We may have our own dynamics in terms of problems of growing up. We are no longer as agile as we were in 1985. We are much slower than we were in 1985. I think we are in the 2021. Most of them are over 50. Some of them are in their 60s. But we are still together. We are still at each other's throat. But not to kill each other, but to build each other. It's a festival of ideas. We still believe that there's a chance that South Africa can become better. We still believe that there's still an opportunity to make South Africa a better country. And JK was part of those discussions. And in those few words, I think I have represented the views of my colleagues and friends, and I want to say to the Mogafe family, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
I saw God from a distance sitting on his throne, and I just couldn't hold back the joy that was in my head, and I just said to him,
Thank you very much, Comrade Nix, Comrade Lisufi. I'm not going to make any comments quickly. I will immediately ask Lindiwe Mabuza, as well as Nico Matlatleng, to please come in here and just give us 1 minute, because if you look at this, it doesn't allow for reading. This is the lights. There are no lights here. You see, there are no lights because it's not meant that we must be here after that. These are not reading lights or to make contacts. Can you please come in? Lindiwe Mabuza and Nico Matlatleng. Very quick, please.
Sing it one more time. Hallelujah.
Okay. Ngiyabonga mphathi wehlelo. Igama lami nguLindiwe Mabuza. Ngumzulu. Ngizokhuluma isiZulu. Ubaba uMgafe angazi ukuthi ngizokhuluma ngaye as iboss yami or umalume. Mara ngizokhuluma as iboss yami. Angiyokhuluma amaningi. Just ngizokhuluma okuncane ngaye. Angazi ukuthi ngibeke kanjani ngesiZulu, mara ngizoyibeka ngeEnglish. Ngithanda ukutshela abantu ngaye ngithi Mr. Mogafe, he's an integrity man. Ubaba kuthi indoda, like I always look up to him. Ngimhlonipha kakhulu. Uthanda ukuthi kithi Lindiwe, you must always root yourself in a moral foundation and be optimistic. Don't compartmentalize your life. Be selfless. Surround yourself with support. Practice the habit of imagining the presence of someone whose opinion you value. Have a principle of the week. Like I said, angiyokhuluma abantu abaningi sebakhulumile. Abab Collins sebakhulumile ngaye. So I'm not going to repeat lezinto abazikhulumile. But into bengithanda kakhulu ngaye, he was true to himself and he was always honest. Bekangafuni ijikajikana, and he was not gonna gossip. Bekazoza straight to you and say, Sesi, lebo uri wena o irile so le so le so le so. Lebile a tlo jikajika. Ke ntho e be ke e rata thata ka yena. Basetsana, ngwana malome, ka mokgwa o bophela ka gona, ka mokgwa o ratang batho ka gona, continue to do that. Tswela pele o be le lethabo lela. O ska dumela Satan a go tsena. O ska re ka rena papa a gona. A ke sana taba. Mama Thapelo, I am sorry for your loss. Ke kgopela go rutie moreneng. May Ntate Mogafe soul rest in peace. Thank you.
E re ke thome ka go dira se tabana se dirile le ena gape. Mr. Program Director, ba lapa la Mr. Mogafe, B3 Management, Bantlopuleng, boetapele bja sub-region, boetapele bja region, boetapele ba province, ake re mo go lena ke re all protocol observed, maduma ke makhura re a tlotsana. Ke eme today mo pele ga lena with a bleeding heart, let me say heavy heart, as I mourn the passing of my father, my mentor, my pillar, a shoulder to cry on. Bontši ba lena, I know gore you know gore what I was to Mr. Mogafe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great loss to you and to us. Let me say me in particular. Because Mr. Mogafe unrutile a lot of things. Ke tla be ke bolela maaka ge nka re mo lena ka ra ka godiša ke Mr. Mogafe. Mr. Mogafe, he was genius. He will encourage us to have our own businesses because we don't know what tomorrow has in store for us. I, for one, I have learned a lot from Mr. Mogafe. Ke se ke leng sona today because of Ntate JK. JK never took me for granted. He raised me like the only son. He made his home my home. His workplace to be my workplace. He even made his family to be my family. He entrusted me with every asset he has. Funny enough, he even involved me in every business he may think of. Few weeks before Atlogolwala, he sent a message to Nale Motswale Dipatlane to say, Nico Le Motswale, I quote, Nico Le Motswaledi, I ask you guys to open a company, ya fumigating, because this virus is gonna stay with us, close quote. And today, as I stand in front of you, I come to a conclusion to say, out of all things he taught us, he wanted to prepare us that he will be living. Some of the things, if you can look at your programs, even the picture that is on my left-hand side. The last time when I took this picture, meeting. Then Mantuam put thing on our will tau. ntse senepe kana o tsore ke tlo go tloganeng le tle le shale le ikgopotsa ka tsona. If you can check the background of your program, the part on the right, mo apering just Mr. Matsipe was there, Rangwana Andris was there. Ne ke mo tsaya dinepe re le ko B3 ka ko morago. Re na le argument ke re no. Jacket mohlang o robala ke tlo go etseya. I still remember Rangwana Andris. Then he said, "O itse byang?" Then I said, "No. Remember, o swantse go spela ba bagolo pele, then rena ba banyane we shall follow." Ne ke sa itse re ka tsatsi leo ke tsatsi ne ke laelana le yena. There are a lot of things tse nka di bolelang ka ntate Mogafe, but go hlompha sebaka se re le mo go sona le go mo honora. Ke tlo re ka ona mantswe ao ke re ntate Mogafe tseo re rutileng tsona re tlo go di tseya re tswele pele ka tsona mo bophelong. Mane mathapelo ntate Mogafe o le shetse nna, because each and every problem, if go bana le problem ya mabone kwa ntlong ba tsana, if you have a problem ya koloi, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm the first person o le mo gopolang. I'm not an electrician, but I'm the first person o le mo gopolang, because JK o nrutile go dira dilo tseo ka moka. Ka ona mantswe ke re a mo ya wa ntate Mogafe o robale ka khotso o re latlhile tao. Ke a leboga le ge di sa leboga.
Thank you very much, Kintlatling, Matletling, Nico. Thank you very much. Because of time, I'm going to ask Andre Kass. Ek dink hy praat bietjie Afrikaans. Al die mense met hier die naam van Andre, hulle praat bietjie Afrikaans mos dan. Thank you very much. Where is Andre? Oh, Andre. Is your date so?
Thank you, Program Director. Afternoon, Bazitsane. Afternoon to the Mogafe family. Afternoon, colleagues, friends, and to everybody else that's here. The Program Director, unfortunately, I don't speak Afrikaans, so this will be in English. And it'll be rather quick, succinct, and to the point. A little bit short, just like my boss, JK. He'd been proud by the number of short people here today. I've worked with JK over the last couple of years, and what an honor and a privilege it's been. We have our weekly catch-up, we have our meetings, and I'll share a couple of anecdotes because of time, and just stuff that we went through. That's together on induction when we brought people into our organization, and he would own the fact, before you said anything, he made you know that he was short, but that he was proud to be short. And to me, that made him at times the tallest man in the room. So I don't usually write things down. My son said to me, "Dad, you normally say these things must come from the heart." So when I was writing these things yesterday, I said, this one needs a bit of both. We can do a bit of heart as well as a bit of head. His passion for his work and his family and his love many times saw JK make the trip from Benoni to Groblersdal and back again. Mr. Matsipe, it was as if he was going to the Pick and Pay and coming back. He'd leave a board exco on Tuesday, we'd have a quick catch-up, and he says, "Cass, I'll see you at 8 tomorrow morning." And by his clock, at 5 to 8, I'm upstairs in his office, and we're having a conversation. We all know that he was a man, and as I think Nico just mentioned, he had multiple businesses. B3 might have been his first, but there was lots of other passions that JK had. Now, JK was a mentor, was a life coach, he was a father, and one of the things that he did, I'm not sure many of you know, he was also an NLP, a neuro-linguistic practitioner.
phamise volume hanyane a ke re emeng ka maoto re ke re bineng sefela sena kaofela rona. Matlatsuna ke bope Sitting city basamadiba alitaviya tifelo di basil ilinsika himatlazuna ki Upina sitting city basamade alitaviya tifelo ludiba ilinsikharima Matlasuna hajibupi Iba itandi bebaba Suba sikina Katimeloba Batu hunting kabuse Thank you. Thank you. Ha ke motsotsona ke lebohe the program director ya re tsamaiseditseng mosebetsi ona o tloa qalehong ho fitlhella pheletsong ya teng. Ke lebohe bohle ba buileng sebakeng sena ho paka ntate wa dona ntate Mogafe e re mo tsibileng re phetseng le ena dilemo tse telele dilemo tse ngata maphelong a rona. Dumelle ke re ho wena mantsibeng ana wena ya dutseng ka go tente ena nna le wena maemong e re phelang ho ona re phela ka mohau wa Modimo. Matsatsi e re leng ho ona ke matsatsi ao e reng ha o tsoha o re Modimo ke a leboha ka mehlanke ke re ho robala ke mosa ho tsoha ke mohau wa Modimo. Dumelle mantsibeng ana ha re tlo feletsa ntate Mogafe ke re lelapa la ha Mogafe B3 Leadership and Management dumeleng ke re ho lona mantsibeng ana le maemong ana Modimo ntse le Modimo e tla dula le Modimo ka ho sa feleng. Dumelle ke re mantsibeng a letsatsi lena ke rata ho leboha letsatsing la kajeno lena ho bona the chairman ya B3 haholo ke tseba ntate Matsepe ha mmoho le yena ntate Mogafe ke batho be ke ne ke phela le bona ka mehla mme ho tloha mono le some members of the staff sa B3 eleng Mr Willie le ba bang ba sebetsang B3 bana be ke ba bitsang ke ile ka ba tseba kwano ka lebaka la ntate Stanley Mathabata le bontate the late Khoshi Mathebe le bontate Tshepo Lekgodi ke ba tsebisitswe ke bona baahi bohle ba Motetema le mona Groblersdal le mane Ntwane ka lebaka la hobane ha re ile ra kopana re ile ra kopanywa ke Modimo le bontate Mogafe ke ba tsebile jwalo. That is why ke reng ka jeno lena ha o feta mane B3 we tadima at the back of B3 mone re hlotse re dula teng ha o sa hlola go tshwana le nakong ya pele empa re ntse re re ho lokile Modimo ke yena ya ratile mme ke rata ho leboha ntate Mogafe hobane le nakong e ho neng re bula kereke mane Middelburg ka 2016 ntate Mogafe o ile a romela batho bohle ba B3 ba Groblersdal bo Willie ba tla ba decorate kereke ho ba hotle mme ke rata gore B3 re le United Reformed Church Middelburg Congregation re rata gore ha wa hlase sa hlaheng le maemong ana modimo e tla dula e le modimo hona le sefela se reng ha le phirimile o tla le nea boroko lalang le motshepile hobane ke ntate ya lerato anti Jesu na honambo ajili la jalo ha kenena ena ja ampita ampesa aritona ito ufole masalo ufole mahaswa hare baleng bukeng ya Johanne chapter 11 re tobala verse 20 le verse 21 bere bale le verse 28 John chapter 11 verse 20 and 21 yare hamareta a utlwa hobane Jesu o atla a ya mo kgahlanyetsa empa Maria a sala tlung Mareta a re ho Jesu morena hoja wa ba teng kgaitsedi ya ka a ka be a sa ka a shwa verse 28 re itse hobane a bue jwalo a ya bitsa Maria ngwana bo sephiring a re ho yena moruti teng o ya o bitsa lena ke lentswe la modimo ho le tshwanelo ba le mamelang mme ba le boloka dipelong tsa bona ka mehla le mehla hobane lentswe la modimo le ya re phedisa lentswe la modimo le na le matla na esale ompehle na jema ketsefena na isale ompehle na jema ketsefe bomme le bontate lelapa la ha Mogafe metswalle yohle e leng teng mona staff members of B3 dumelleng ka bokgutshwanyane ka metsotso ena e setseng lengolong le re badileng ho lona re kopana le lelapa la bo Lazaro le ne le dula motseng wa Bethania ha re tadima motse wa Bethania o ne o le haufinyana le motse wa Jerusalema ha re tadima lebitso lena Bethania le bolela ntlo ya difeiga ha re tadima Lazaro e ne e le motswalle wa morena Jesu a dula Bethania le Maria le Mareta di kgaitsedi tsa hae ya ba leetong la bophelo Lazaro o ya kula ha Lazaro a kula Maria le Mareta ba romela molaetsa ho Jesu ba lo mo tsebisa hore motswalle wa hae ya mo ratang o ya kula le ngosa lena ha le fitla ho Jesu le fitla le mo tsebisa le re Jesu motswalle wa hao o ya kula ya ba ka nako yeo Maria le Mareta le baahi ba Bethania ba ne ba lebelletse hore Jesu o tla tla a potlakile hobane motswalle wa hae o ya kula nakong eo. Empa dumelle ke re, God's time is always perfect. Yaba Jesu o re ho bona tsamayang le ba bolelle le ho kula ha Lazaro ha se wa isang timelo, empa ke ho isang tokisong ya lebitso la Modimo. Ka mantswe a mang, bomme le bontate, dumelle ke re ho wena nako ya rona e tsejwa ke Modimo, empa nako ya ho tloha lefatsheng lena le Jesu ha e tsebe. Jwale ka nako eo ha le nqosa le kgutlela le re Jesu a re le ske la makala, hobane ho kula hoo ha se wa isang timelo. Yaba ba makala hobane ba ne ba tseba hore Jesu ke motswalle wa Lazaro ngwana bo bona. Dumelle ke re matsatsi a nna tsamaya, yaba Lazaro wa hlokahala. Jesu a sa tla hore a tlo bona Lazaro, hobane tumelo ya bona le tshepo e ba ne ba na le yona, ba ne ba hopola hore Jesu ha ka tla o tlo ama Lazaro, ebe Jesu o fodisa Lazaro. Ka nako eo ha Lazaro a qeta ho patwa, matsatsi a mararo a se a fetile, yaba Jesu o ya Bethania. Itse Jesu ha kena Bethania, yaba baahi ba Bethania ba ya mmona. Ha ba mmona jwale ba lo bolella Maria le Mareta, yaba Mareta wa ema o mathela ho Jesu. Ha fitla ho Jesu hore morena ho ja wa ba te kgaitsedi ya ka a ka ba sa shwa. Jesu a re ho yena ke utlwisisa bohloko ba pelo ya hao, empa ntumelle ke re God's time is always perfect. Ka nako eo yaba Jesu ho yena ngwaneno o tla tsoha. Mareta a re eya ke a tseba o tla tsoha, mohlabafu ba tsoha, empa Jesu a re hopola Mareta hore ke nna tsoho le bophelo. Ya dumelang ho nna le ha ka shwa o tla phela, malebanya ya phela, mme a dumela ho nna ha ka ke a shwa le ka mohlao le moo. A re ke a utlwisisa. Jesu a bona hore motho enwa kutlwisiso ya hae ha iyo. Yaba Jesu hore Maria o kae, yaba Mareta hore o teng tlung, yaba Jesu hore tsamaya o lo mo bitsa. Ha fitla ho yena o re moruti o teng o ya o bitsa. Jesu o teng o ya o bitsa. Lelapa la Mogafe, dumelle mantsibueng ana ke re le maemong ana Jesu o teng o ya le bitsa, hobane le lahlehetswe ke ntate, le lahlehetswe ke ankere, le lahlehetswe ke monna, le lahlehetswe ke rangwane. Ntate Mogafe, he was the man of many talents. He was the man who was very active. He was the man yana tshaba Modimo. Ntate Mogafe ha re mo tadima ka Rugby 3 o na e sebeletsa ka mmele, pelo le moya, botho ba hae kaofela. Jwale lona ba ha Mogafe ha maemo a le tjena le ka tshwana le Mareta, le botse potso ena le re morena ho ja wa ba teng kgaitsedi ya rona ntate wa rona nka be a sa hlokagala empa ndumelle lona ba Mogafe ke re gopotse ke re ha re rapela re re thato ya hao e etswa lefatshe jalo ka e etswa legodimo ha re bina re re bitso la ka kajeno le ngolwe bukeng ya bophelo nako ya ka ha e fihla o nthole morena mona ha se hae re tlhakile fela empa se fela se re di thusang dipelaelo le ona masisapelo gobane mookamedi ya genang o tseba se re se hlokang ntate Mogafe le yena modimo o ne a mo hloka ntate Mogafe le yena modimo o ne a ngotse lebitso la gae bukeng ya bophelo ka jeno lena ba Mogafe re tla lona ka mantswe ya reng moruti o teng o ya le bitsa ya ka ditshedisang o teng bonang ke yena Jesu o go bitso le letle lebitso le kgathehang ntate Mogafe ha a tsamaye ka kgotso ntate Mogafe le ne le lebelletse tse ngata ho yena ntate Mogafe le ne le nana o tla hola ebe ntate mogolo ditlolo le ditlolwana di tle di mmone empa nako ya rona e tsejwa ke modimo nna le wena re ntse re phela kajeno re ntse re kena ka hara metse le metsana re ntse re tshidisegang ke ka lebaka la hobane re phela ka mogau wa modimo bomme le bontate dumellang ke re go lona mantsiboeng a letsatsi lena nako e re phelang ho yona re lokela ho ratana re lokela ho tshaba modimo re lokela ho rorisa modimo hobane re phela nakong eo ha o qeta ho bua le nna ha o qeta ho romella WhatsApp o ka utlwa ka morao hore ye o no bua le yena ha sa leyo re phela ka mohau dumelle ke re go lona mantsiboeng ana Jesu o teng o ya le bitsa dumelle ke re ntate Mogafe o na sebetsa monate B3 Groblersdal a kena a tswa a etsa batho ka mohau mme ka jeno lena ke yena ka jeno ya robetse mona sebetsa teng nako ya rona e tsejwa ke modimo fela dumelle ke re bana ba Mogafe bophelong ba re phelang le bona o na le tjhelete ha ona tjhelete o na le ntlo ha ona ntlo o na le mosebetsi ha ona mosebetsi empa re tlo feta kaofela lefatshe le re phelang ho lona dumelle ke re ho lona mantsiboeng ana ha tsohle di fedile ho sala modimo o tsamaile ha sa hlola kgutlela ho lona Dafita ha ngwana ha e qeta ho hlokahala o re ha se yena ya tlatla ho nna empa ke nna ke tla nyolohela ho yena dumelleng ke re ho lona mantsiboeng ana le lapa la Mogafe ha tsohle di fedile modimo yena wa sala tshedisehang ke hona moruti o teng o ya le bitsa e leng Jesu ka sebele ha le tla ho yena le keke la nyorwa le keke la lapa le keke la tsamaya le sena diaparo hobane yena ha le teng dintho tsohle di a loka dumelle ke re ho lona bohle ba dutseng ka ho tentena the staff members of B3 the leadership of B3 le lapa la Mogafe Jesu o teng o ya le bitsa mo tshepeng ka mehla hobane yena ha le teng dintho tsohle di a loka modimo a kgotso a le etse ka hore le ka hore let the congregation of the Lord say amen ha re rapeleng modimo ya mosa re leboha lentswe la hao le a phedisa lentswe la hao le na le matla ke yena mohlanka wa hao ntate a tla le robatswa borokong ba hae ba o qetela letsatsing la labone modimo tsamaya le bona ntate ba etelle pele hobane ha tsohle di ile wena modimo wa sala ba tshedise ntate lelapa la Mogafe bana mme le lelapa lohle ntate ba ne ba tsebe gore le maemong ana wena o tla dula o le teng ka mehla modimo go tshepile ntate ka Kriste morena wa rona amen. Re a leboga re tla forward the announcement, vote of thanks, then after that we take a benediction. Thank you.
Ke thomele go dumediša ebile le go leboga. Ke rata go thoma go leboga program director ntate Mashalane. Ke a go leboga go menagane monna gešo go ranela programe go tswa kgole le go re thega. Ke utlwile o bolela gore go tlo leboga Andries Bialane madia ka tshoganyana ka re mara monno will have to check pasa ya gage gore ga tshela tratana because of you were just exactly go tshwana le banna ba borena ba ba tshelang trata. Problem ya bona gore they don't listen. Mmotsa ga botse gore mosadi yena o tla go botsa re a masadi wa mbolela ga botse gore ba monumile. So ba ne ka re no ga re tle go tswa mo before ke kgopela o nkemela mola sebata mme re kwa go dirile ga psila ke bolela sa kopa sa jeke bjano se le bositse ke nyaka go checka ga psila mola gore pasa gago ke yone. But in short, we're very thankful for o kgona go ranela program e. Ntate Moruti ke rata go leboga o ka diriša motho diphošo a ke ditse mola ke re mara nka bula kereke ka mokgwa bo rera ke rawa bata se se ka semphale ka mokgwa o bo flowa ka teng o tsamaya. We're very thankful. Dipelo tsa rena di thobegile. Di speaker tsa rena ka moka nka bile re be re na le nako be ke tla leboga ka o tee re leboga mantso a tlhobošo a le re fileng wona go na le sefela se se reng ka tšeno re batho re tseba go rapela. But now I'll say to you ka tšeno re batho ka bohloko bo re bo kweleng re humotšegile a se ka ba rena fela le ba ileng gore ga ba utlwa bohloko le ba humotšeng. Re na le banna ba re šomang le bona mo ba di undertaker. To save time a ke tlo mentiona the undertaker as individual. So re rata gore thekgo e le re fileng yona go tlaeng Mogafe le tlo gore thuša gore re kwe ditaba ka monna borena gore re phela bjang. That is a good sign ya go bontsha gore go na le unity le perekišano a re thekganeng gona ka mokgwa e se ka ba rena fela le ba bang ba tlhagelang ke tse le bathuši. Ya bobedi batho ka moka ba ba tswileng ka makate a namane go tleng go thekga ditau tsa tswako ka leru le letsho le le re hlagetseng. We're very thankful. Ge re kena ka mo be re thothomela gona nong ga ke eme mo ke tukutlwa ke na le maatla gobane re bona re le batho ebile re tukutlwa re humotšegile. Lehu matsatsing a lehono ke ngwetši ya malapa. Tente ye e kena motse o mongwe le o mongwe a re tsweleng pele re thekganeng ka mokgwa
go fokotsa bohloko bo batho ba bo utlwang. Ya mafelelo ke gore ga re tloga mo go na le metsi a ra preparileng a go theošetša ka mmaleng, o mongwe le o mongwe o tlo feta mola a topa pack ya gage gomme ra tswa ka difate. Sa mafelelo, I just want to look to this person ke re mo go wena tau ya tswako robala ka khutšo hloka pelaelo mfo. Ke rata my last words to you to say phumzika kwa amani robala ka khutšo. Thank you.
Re ya leboha. We may stand ka yona pina eo Auntie Jameson Ampon. Auntie Jameson ona kelena ampesabe ona ofonema. Ke rata hore ho wena ha o tswa mona Monday to Monday batho ba dula ba ema ka pele ho mabitla. Dumelle ke ho wena ha o tswa mona tshwana le Daniele o rapele makgetlo a mararo ka letsatsi. O nno re Modimo ke kopa o nomphe bophelo o nompoloke hobane ke tshepile wena. Modimo a kgotso a letse hantle le malapa a lona. Modimo a kgotso a le go ise molemo o sa feleng. Ha re nke ntlhollafatso ya morena re ikeleng ka kgotso. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you now and forevermore. Amen.
God, telling him my problems. He asked me a question. He said, "Why did you choose me?" And I said to him, "Boo, Baba."